Hello. So today I had one of my clients come to see me about, having this hard time adjusting over from like diet soda to water. And if you are not a water drinker, it's difficult to do intermittent fasting, or as everyone says, to drink water. First of all, we have this idea that diet sodas are okay, which that could be a totally another video. I don't recommend them. They're full of chemicals and even, all of the energy drinks and stuff like that. Obviously, if they aren't sugar-free, then they are full of sugar. So huge thing to be able to switch over to water. But how do you do it if you are so used to drinking other things, wine, beer, sodas, etc.? It's really a challenge. So I'm always along the groove or the lines of, taking it consistently so you don't have to do it overnight. One of the ways that you can start, for example, let's say you drink some kind of a soda or something like that. Just start diluting it. I don't know if it's a sweet tea that you get from the store, the Arizona teas, or I don't know what like the Calypso or even diet soda. Start diluting it little by little. You don't have to dilute it half and half to begin with, because why? Because you're not going to like it. So you want to dilute it in a way that you can still drink it, and yet you're making small, consistent changes. What does that look like? For a can of soda, perhaps pouring out the first tenth of it or the first fifth of it, quarter of a cup of it, and adding water. Or maybe it's the first eighth of a cup. Consistent changes. If you're drinking iced tea and you put a lot of sugar in it, cutting back on your sugar. Instead of putting a half a cup of sugar in it, put 2 tablespoons less or a quarter of a cup of sugar. You want to be right at that edge where you're making a change, right? And that you can decrease your intake over time, okay? You don't want to make it so unpalatable that you're not going to carry through, right? Our habits are so strong. So that's what you want to do. You also want to think of the temperature of what you're drinking. A lot of times we will drink things because of the temperature of it. We like the cold. How can you emulate that temperature? By putting ice in your water bottle. Get yourself a water bottle that actually is big enough so that you can put ice in it. What if you don't like the water in your tap? And you're supposed to be drinking tap water. Tap water has such a bad rap these days. And most of the time, in most places, our tap water is A-okay. You can also buy a Brita filter if you don't like the flavor of the chlorine. I would recommend doing that over plastic bottles. Another way you can work with, switching over to water is while you are starting, put a little, if you like orange juice or you like a pineapple juice, something that is not added sugar, put that in your water, by the tablespoonful. Don't start with a cup or 50-50. See how much you can sweeten it so that it's sweet enough, but not overly sweet. That's one great way of switching over to water. And, if you have a 16-ounce water bottle and you're adding water and ice in there, maybe a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of pineapple juice or orange juice or apple juice or something to help you to bridge that gap between drinking water and these very sweetened beverages. Okay. Another way you can do it is, starting to drink tea. Tea has been a real challenge for me. I love coffee. But some people really love tea, the flavors of tea without the honey. What can you add to make your tea, again, more palatable? Sometimes you can add a little bit of lemonade, just a little tiny bit, like a tablespoon, not sugar lemonade, but a squeeze of lemon. And sometimes a little bit of apple cider vinegar. It's amazing when that's paired with lemon that sometimes it actually tastes a little bit sweet. So weird. You can put a little orange juice in there, maybe a little bit of pineapple juice, just a little bit, like a teaspoonful. Just help yourself to get to that edge where you have enough sugar to taste it and be really aware of it. I think that I can do this. I can drink this. Your body's going to want to crave, and your taste buds want to crave. Your habits want to crave what they're used to. They want to get back to that level of sweetness and temperature. Sometimes even going into the store and buying these things. I know from, my cigarette habits that when I used to want to smoke, that part of it was about, going into the store and getting some kind of social interaction. So a lot of times we'll stop in our store and get our soda or get our drink or our Arizona iced tea. So that is another thing to really, that we often work with when it comes to just drinking water. Strangely, we don't often have that social network. So how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that? By taking a walk, finding a friend to talk on the phone with, taking a nice deep breath, maybe heading out on a little bit of a bike ride, going around the block, petting your dog, your cat, talking with your children. I mean, all of those kinds of things. And it sounds so basic. And believe me, I'm not being flippant about it because I get it. I lived in this town once where one of the ways that I got to know people is by stopping in the little groceries. And I used to always get like a Calypso. And they had like a mango Calypso. It was so good. And I used to, dilute it because those are really, really sweet for me. But, I got to know everybody in the store and, how you go to the grocery store. And sometimes if you're like me, you like to go to the grocery store. It's kind of a social thing. Get you out of the house. You get to see the people that you usually hang out with at the grocery store. So, maybe you want to go to the grocery store and get a lemon on a regular basis, or figure out another reason to get to the grocery store. Something that works for you. So we've talked about, being on the edge, reducing your sugar intake to include a little bit of lemonade, a little bit of lemon or some apple cider vinegar, just a little bit, like a tablespoon of orange juice or something like that, to help you get to a place where you're drinking more water and thinking about the temperature of your water. Do you want like a nice warm tea? Do you want some chicken broth? That's another thing that I wanted to cover. Chicken broth, beef broth. You can buy organic beef broth or chicken broth at the store. You can put a little onion flake in there. You can put some garlic powder in there, some salt if it's not already salted, a little bit of pepper. Maybe you're the kind of person you like spicy things. So you could chop up a serrano chili and put a few pieces of that in there. What are some natural ways that you can satisfy this craving for food with liquids, right? So your chicken broth can be a wonderful substitute for like chips, because you're getting that savory, warm, comforting flavor. If you do put a little something, you could put a little bit of celery in there, to get you started. Chop it up and it gives you something to crunch on. A little bit of carrot in there, it gives you something to crunch on. And yes, it can be a real stretch, but these things can be also really helpful. I mean, the idea is to switch over from corn chips to chicken broth. That's quite a stretch. It was for me. I am not the kind of person that can just overnight flip my switch. So I find ways to help me to do that stuff gradually and to become acquainted. Like, I'm kind of shy around making changes. A lot of us are. So, getting to know something new, getting to know a new pattern, getting to know a new flavor, getting to know, even if you're adventurous, really, really hard to change patterns. So Anyway, I hope some of these things help. I really do, because once you get through letting go of your sugar, diet sodas, things like that, you're going to find, that losing weight is a lot easier. That those things that you looked forward to, as far as sugar and those boosts, those energy boosts throughout the day, you're going to find that you actually get them because you're burning more fat. You're not burning that sugar. You're not going to have those crashes like you used to have. So there are some real benefits to you. So keep those benefits in mind and look for those little ways that your body tells you, hey, that was good. I'm glad you didn't overwhelm me with sugar yesterday. Look for those clues that your body gives you as far as how your energy increases. Is it going to happen overnight? Probably not. It's a little bit of a process. Give yourself time, give yourself credit, take care of yourself. Okay. I'll do the same. I hope you're well, and thanks for joining me today, and take care. I'll be posting this on my New Habits Coaching website and also in my Daily Dose of Ketosis Facebook group. All right. Take care.